Our coach, our team leader for Global Music Match, Team 5 is Adee Lifshitz. Born in New York, but raised in Israel, she now lives in Manchester studying music. And without telling us, we discovered that this girl can sing. She not only can sing, but when she opens her mouth, she shines. And the world becomes a better place. Our Team 5 wanted to get to know our coach a little better because all we do in our meetings is we talk about us. We talk about us. So here's a shift to shining a light on our team coach and leader, Adee Lifshitz. Did you know that true love asks for nothing? Her acceptance is the way we pay. Did you know that life is giving love a guarantee to last through forever, another day?
Adee,
Hello.
what does tradition mean to you, and how do you use tradition as a source of inspiration in your music making?
That's such a good question. I've kind of been thinking about this, and I was thinking of tradition kind of means, I think, two things to me. First of all, tradition of I'm Jewish. I've grown up in Israel, and it's just tradition of the Jewish people. So whether it be traditional Jewish music or just general things that we do, we had Rosh Hashanah was this past weekend, so the Jewish New Year. So it's all the small traditions of eating the specific foods and stuff like that. Things that are sort of conceived as a tradition to everyone. But then on the other hand, I really kind of appreciate personal traditions and things that kind of you grew up with as a kid, or the small things that, and for me, I've been trying to think of how to really phrase it, but it's things that I think about that kind of make me feel like in a really, really good way. So even if it's silly traditions that I do with my family, in the airport in Tel Aviv, when you kind of fly internationally, there's this small head of statue of our very first prime minister, and my mom has made it a tradition that every time we fly, we kind of take a selfie with this bust of a person. So that's tradition. Even though it's it's just, to me, I will always think about that, and it will always make me feel really, really happy. And so in music, I don't know, I think because I'm a music student at the moment, but I didn't really study music growing up. I was always in choirs, and I always sang, and I always performed. But it wasn't until recently that I really went into music theory and studying and dissecting things. So I think for me, my musical tradition is not having a tradition, and kind of getting things here and there as I was growing up. Because sometimes, people would look at my songs and be like, I wasn't expecting that. It works, so, why not? And that's just because I don't have something that's tying me down, and that's kind of what I like, I guess. It's kind of just who I am in music. Yeah.
Cool.
Very interesting.
That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really lovely. I feel like that leads into my question a little bit, Adee. Hopefully not putting you too much on the spot. But, you and I have a shared heritage. My family comes from Safat on my father's side in Israel, and I was brought up in a Jewish community, and it was a very big part of my life. I went to Jewish school and learned Hebrew. אבל שכחתי הכל.
למה? נשמע מעולה.
And it was interesting. There's an interesting difference, I think, between the Jewish community in Israel compared with the diaspora Jews, as they would call themselves, or Jews living around the world, because they feel a separateness, or they have a big focus on Israel. And for me, growing up in my Jewish musical tradition, we would sing a lot of traditional Israeli folk songs, and we would sing traditional Jewish music. So I was wondering, do you have a favorite traditional song or a favorite Israeli song that you could sing us a little piece of or tell us about, or both?
That's a really good question. Thank you. I can definitely say that there is a big difference, growing up in the Jewish community, in Israel, and then suddenly like coming here to Manchester. Because I've been in Manchester for 3 years now. And I think one of the great things about just, Jews abroad in the diaspora is having, when I arrived here, I kind of like obviously felt on my own because I don't have, much family here, and I speak the language fine, but when I went to the Chabad house during my first term here, so I met the local rabbi, and he's kind of here to help all the students. It just kind of like, even though I've never met these people before, because we share these same traditions, going back to the last question, it just made me feel like I was home. And it's funny because as well, I grew up in a Sephardic, household as well, and everyone here is more like, they sing the more Ashkenazi songs, and I'm just like, this is a bit weird. This is the same, you're singing the same song that I know, but it's a slightly different melody. I will say though, I am getting to your question, I promise. I will say I grew up in a secular household. So there are a lot of things, there are the traditions that we had in my house, but I was brought up on mostly, like, I'd say Israeli music rather than traditional, like, Jewish music. There are songs that I know, and people try and singing Hava Nagila at me, and they only know the la 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 la, and then they finish there and they don't know how to continue. But yeah, so my favorite ever Israeli musician is a woman called Yudit Ravitz. Have you heard of her?
I don't think so.
She's incredible. I got to see her live a few times, and I think what the most amazing thing is that Israel's very, very relatively young, so the original Israeli folk, not Jewish folk, but Israeli folk, most of the musicians are still alive. So it's insane, and she has been massive, and I just love her so much. And yeah, I can sing some for you guys, but I don't know.
Yes, please.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I just thought today that this song that we're gonna sing marks it. I think today it was released today 40 years ago, so it kind of like the one that popped into my head. It sounds sad, but it's really pretty. Okay, a bit nervous. כי שירי הוא בת קול ברוח, מכתבי השלוח, מנגינת חיי, געגועי, הן תפילותיי, זה אתה הולך אליי, בנדודיי, הולכות אליי, תמונות ונשמות, ושמות שמות. Don't remember how it goes after that.
Oh my goodness.
That's beautiful.
Oh my goodness. When you sing it, my eyes well up with tears.
Oh my gosh.
I've told you this before, that it makes me, doesn't happen when I hear everybody sing, or when I hear you sing, Sorry, were you finished answering your question? Because now I'm going to take over with my adoration for you. But this does kind of go into you talked about feeling, at home in a foreign land, through by finding your tradition in that land, and you have something very special. Anyway, I wanted to know what your experience was like your first time really feeling at home on stage, because you look at home on stage.
Oh, first of all, thank you so much because that is so kind. I really, really do appreciate it. And that's a really good question. You guys have become really good at interviewing, I think, over the past few weeks. I think I can kind of pinpoint two moments in my life kind of growing up, because as I said earlier, I never really studied music, but I did have like vocal lessons, and I was part of like the school. We were a really, really small school, so we didn't have enough people for a choir, but we were a vocal group basically. And I mean, a lot of it has to do, I'm just gonna go shout out to my very first music teacher. Her name is Revital, and it inspires me to this day. Like, I'm still in contact with her, and she's absolutely incredible. She taught me how to sing in harmony. So, all those things, like ever since I think I started, like, she was one of the teachers at my school since I was like maybe 12 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I think the first with her, I had my first proper performance, like in front of people, with a vocal group that just kind of gives you like a boost of confidence. So that was probably when I was 12. We were all singing, like we were maybe, I think, 8 students singing together. And it was this one show, and we were all really like working on it, rehearsing for months. And then it finally came, and it was, I think I had, up to that point, I had never rehearsed something that much. And it's just kind of like finally something that you were building up towards for such a long time. Mm-hmm. I think I definitely take it for granted today, or, up until a few months ago. That was the first time I kind of felt like, okay, this is great. Mm-hmm. And then first time I sang on my own in front of like a really big crowd, that was a few years later. And I remember I sang Lullaby of Birdland, the jazz standard, but just because I was obsessed with Ella Fitzgerald growing up. And yeah, I remember just kind of being present, but very much focusing on the song, and then like massive applause, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is actually quite fun, this is actually quite nice. So that was, I think, the first time I was like, okay, this could be a thing that I'm gonna do.
So cool.
So you had a non-traditional kind of education in music growing up, but you've done lots of things, so going from jazz to swing, tiny bit of kind of pop stuff in there. It's amazing. As just a traditional singer who only kind of sings folk songs, it's lovely to meet someone that just sings everything. And I'm just wondering, vocally, what kind of things do you do to look after your voice? Because a lot of these songs are really demanding songs, and you deliver them. I love that Paolo Nutini one. I love Paolo Nutini. I love Unit. But what do you do to look after your voice?
I think, do you have 2 hours to talk about it? I think one of the things that subconsciously has always been in my mind is just the fact that, if you're a guitarist, you need to sit down and practice with your guitar. If you're, a keyboard player, etc. But as a vocalist, you can literally practice all the time. Obviously, if you want to really get in there, then you need to take the time out and do your scales and do your warm-ups and do your breathing exercises and stuff like that. But I really, obviously really believe that every single day you have an opportunity to just become better. And I think just knowing that, or just thinking that already, like, makes, like, is one step up that you can continue forward to. Practically, things that I do every single morning, when I wake up, I drink a pint of water. Always. First thing I do after I brush my teeth, pint of water, because it's just like hydration is so important.
I thought you said beer. Well, I thought you were gonna say beer. Every single morning I drink a
Can you
pint of
imagine?
beer. Ooh, I should try that.
Fine.
That's my secret. Just a pint of a pint of water every morning.
That seems achievable. Like if I work hard, can do it.
Yeah, the basic, do your warm-ups before you perform. I also, if I know I have a big performance or a big, singing exam, I don't drink any alcohol, and I try not to drink as much coffee. I can't not drink coffee. I love coffee, but not as much coffee during the few days before, and not during the day of. Yeah, and just keep singing all the time. I think because I didn't have a traditional, I didn't study music growing up, and I listened to so many things. It's like, honestly, so many things. I didn't limit myself as to, I'd hear, Ella Fitzgerald do something, and I was like, oh, I want to try and do that. But then I'd hear Freddie Mercury sing something, and then Aretha Franklin, and then, so I'd just be like curious growing up to see if I can do it. And then obviously, since coming to Manchester, and I've been studying at the Royal Northern College of Music, I've had amazing vocal tutors. Sometimes it's this song, I don't think I can sing it right now, but I want to be able to, and the tutors are incredible. So it's just like breaking it down and seeing how we're going to do it. So yeah, and the more you sing, the better you get. It's just kind of like with everything.
And by the way, your singing through this meeting sounded very nice, and I'm really looking forward to hear your stuff more. It was so soft and it was so good treat. In your opinion, what are the most valuable tips and tricks on being a vocalist? Is there any life changer guide?
Life changing. Well, definitely that pint of water in the morning. I think don't limit yourself to what you think that you should do or what you think that you want to do. And I think that's really one of the things that I've recently learned since coming to the UK, because we had, going to conservatoire and studying pop music could be literally anything. And so I had exams where I needed to do a jazz scat, and I had to write a blues song, but then I also needed to do big, Christina Aguilera riffs, and also had to do a rap for my for my exam at the end of last year. And at the beginning it was like, me rap, really? And so I'm not a rapper, but I have learned a lot about breathing exercises and techniques, and being able to say all the phrases that you want to say in that rap, just by having to do it. And it would have been something that I've never have done. So just try everything, I think is what I would say. Try everything. If something hurts, stop, because that's never a good sign. But if something hurts, stop, and then go to a professional and ask them, what are you doing wrong? Because I think, you could do anything. And as for reaching the really big notes, I have a vocal tutor who said, if you can hit it with your head voice, you can hit it with your belting voice. You just need to know how to get there. Yeah. Which is easier said than done, but yeah, it's
a good tip.
I have a wee question about your experience with working for the English Folk Expo, which of course is one of our expo organisations for England in Global Music Match. When did you start working for them, and what's it been like engaging with kind of whatnot. It's a really exciting organisation.
Well, I'm quite new and fresh with them, actually. I started in the beginning of August, so it's almost 2 months now. And it kind of came by quite randomly because I'm still studying at the moment. I'm in my 4th and final year at the Royal Northern College of Music, and on my program we get to do the first semester of our final year is a work placement. So people do literally everything. You can be signed to the we have a label on like we have an RNCM like label. You can be signed to that. You can be working on radio. You can be working literally anything. And initially when I interviewed for English Folk Expo, it was to help run the Manchester Folk Festival, which happens every year obviously in Manchester, but in October. That obviously hasn't happened. That's had to be cancelled because of COVID. But when they knew that they were going to cancel, they emailed me immediately and said, listen, if you don't want to work with us, that's completely understandable, because, one of the big things is working on this festival. But we would love to have you, and here are the things that we'd be doing in the upcoming months. And I looked at it and I just said, yeah, this looks really, really, really interesting. And just when I had my interview with them, such lovely people and such nice people, and it's like this is the type of people that I want to surround myself with. So I feel very, very lucky, very, very honored to be working with them. It's a great organization. We do a bunch of things. So yes, we're planning like the next Manchester Folk Festival and the next the upcoming Rochdale Folk Festival. But then I get to do stuff like this, and I get to work with, they have like an artist mentoring program. I get to do, I'm kind of like mostly, I'm going to say mostly because I'm not completely, but in charge of their social media accounts. So I'm getting to like learn so many things just about admin in the music world, which I hadn't known up to a few months ago. And I'm just really happy to have had the opportunity to be here with you guys.
Okay, Adee, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
If you were a superhero,
oh my gosh,
what would your superpower be, and what would you use it for? This is the most important question of the whole thing.
Definitely.
Oh my gosh, we had over lockdown. I was joking with my friends. We were trying to come up with the most useless superpower, and I think the best one that we came up with was being able to see other people's farts.
I mean, that could be kind of handy.
Know what to avoid.
Yeah.
Oh man, what would I do? I mean, I'd love to be able to fly, but that's quite a basic answer, I think.
What would you fly for? What would you use it for?
That's it. For myself. That makes me sound very like, self-centered. I don't know. I'd probably be something to do with nature. I think like maybe have the ability to like grow things. So like if I had to be in battle, I'd be like a vine whip type person. But then I could also help, the world with planting more trees and helping agriculture and stuff like that.
That's such a wholesome superpower. I love it.
I would love to know how it came to fruition that you got to sing with the British pop band Take That on their Odyssey tour in Manchester Arena. That must have been incredible. Tell us about that.
It was amazing. It would have been about a year and a half ago now. So yeah, we did 5 shows at the Manchester Arena, which is massive. It was 5 sold out shows at the Manchester Arena. Every show, every night, it was in front of 20,000 people, and it was absolutely insane. So we got to do 2 songs with them. We didn't sing throughout the whole performance. we did 2 songs as a choir. And yeah, so I am actually really, really fortunate and honored to be part of a Manchester-based gospel choir.
Wow.
Called the Audrey Mattis Chorale. Yeah, we were just on BBC One this past weekend.
Wow.
It was very exciting. We got to film something over lockdown, and it's funny because the way we're kind of like stood, there was a lady that came with a 2-meter like pole to make sure that we're socially distant from one another before we start filming. But anyway, back to the Take That tour. So Audrey, our choir director, who is an absolutely inspiring woman, she leads this choir. She's had this choir for over almost 30 years now, and someone had come to her and said, hi, Take That are coming to Manchester, and every kind of area that they're coming to, they're looking for a local choir to perform with them on a few songs. And yeah, they came to her and asked if she'd be able to put something together, and she said absolutely. So we had a few rehearsals. It was great because it was difficult because we had to both sing and dance at the same time, and it's like, whoa, how do you do that? But
Cool.
it was insane. Like, honestly, the first night we stood on stage, I mean, I don't know if you guys have done this. I had never been on stage in front of 20,000 people before in my life. And we had these like robes, these choir robes, and they snuck us on stage at the end of one song, and it was all dimly lit, and then the light came up as we stood on stage. And I just remember that first evening we were there, like, you don't really understand what 20,000 people is until you like just stare at them, and it was insane. But yeah, it was so much fun.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Adee,
Yes.
in a perfect world with an unlimited budget and the Rolodex of stars, you can do anything you wanted to do, how you wanted to do it, when, where you wanted to do it. My question is, what would you do and who would you do it with?
Oh my gosh. Does it have to do with music or just anything?
2 parts, anything, and then we'll come back to the music one.
Well, anything. I just feel like I would give the world to be able to travel with my grandparents. Travel anywhere. Sorry, that was me. Yeah, because I mean, they're old now, they can't really travel, and obviously because of Corona it's not something that's going to happen, but yeah, I think that'd be so much fun, just travel the world. I count myself quite lucky because I was born in the US, then grew up in Israel, and now I'm here in Manchester, and I've kind of like managed to travel around quite a lot. But I've never like gone traveling, I've never gone to the East or never even traveled Europe. Not yet, anyway. I'm planning on doing it someday.
Yeah.
So I just want to see everything that this amazing world has to offer. So that's what I'd do. And music-wise, oh, it's a good question. I love singing. I love performing. I love being on stage. But I love singing, like, specifically in like vocal groups, massive, like big, like tricky vocal harmonies. I absolutely love it. So somehow, either I'd say one of 2 things: either being like a backing vocalist to a major like superstar artist, and then doing like really cool, I don't know, backing vocals, or being part of a I don't know, like a very successful touring, I don't know, vocal trio or group or something.
Awesome.
Great.
Great answers.
Yeah.
Let me see. What would my other question be? Dream collabo. Like, I heard what you said, but I'm going to continue to go down that lane. So now you get to record a song with whoever, whenever, wherever. So would it be like, what would that be? Because I've seen a glimpse of your musical manifestation. Like, you're amazing. Your voice is amazing. Your presentation and performance is amazing. But I would love to know what it looks like if you were doing what you wanted to do when you wanted to do it. Like, and not even an album, just a song.
Just a song. And it could be literally anyone.
Literally anyone.
I mean, my first like automatic instinct is to say either, you know, Aretha Franklin or Whitney Houston. That would be, I think if I had that opportunity.
Wow.
I think if I had
it is. Like, see, that says a lot. Like, see that? I'm feeling good about these questions because that communicated a lot. Like, the woman is not playing people. Like, Aretha Franklin or Whitney.
Oh my
She's
God.
like, I did not come to play. We can do it. What you want to do? I see. Wow.
Yeah. Like, I would cry at just the thought of that being a possibility. Like, that would be life made, obviously.
Well, can we get like a little vocal sample?
Sure. My favorite Aretha song.
I'm feeling it right now, people. I was like, she said Aretha Whitney. Oh, now we get some Aretha. Come on, somebody. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm super nervous now because what if I mess up? Okay. Ain't no way for me to love you if you won't let me. There ain't no way for me to give you all you need if you won't give it all of me. Oh, ain't no way.
Score. I love it. Wow. You just got an exclusive from the Adee.
You know, is there somewhere that you find the best for people to connect with you and your music, that people can, you know, check you out?
Yeah, I mean, I've got my Instagram, that's adee.music. I also post on Facebook. I just don't do as much because I haven't written enough songs yet. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I have a question for you guys. Collectively. I just kind of, you know, if you look at all the other coaches, first of all, so honored that you guys wanted to interview me. This has been an absolute blast. So thank you so much for doing this. I always kind of felt that, you know, some of the other coaches are, you know, have been in the music industry for a lot longer, have been doing just like, you know, some have put on festivals and some have been managers and some have been like so many things. So I was quite scared and I didn't really know how I'd be able to like contribute and help. Not in like I'm not good enough. It's just like I don't have the experience that they have. But first of all, I just wanted to say thank you so much for just being incredible. I mean, you guys are amazing. This is like a general, just me saying, if you ever need backing vocals on anything, please, I would be absolutely honored.
Mm-hmm.
I would be so honored.
Oh, you're on the list. You made the list, and it's a short list, and you're on it.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, you're a fantastic team leader, and It's been a privilege and a pleasure to have you on this fun journey with all of us, and I'm speaking for all of us. Yeah, it's and it was such an incredible surprise because you did not pump your own abilities to discover your talents. It was really moving, and I was shocked. It was a draw job. I was like, that's our team leader. Why hasn't she said anything? It was really cool, and I'm so excited for you have a bright future. And as everybody on our team here seems to, it's just like, it was just really brought a lot of joy
Yes.
to discover.
Why didn't you open with song?
Yeah. Yeah.
All about you guys. I'm here for you.
Well, now we're here for you. Thanks, Adee. Thanks for letting us question you, corner you.
Thank you. Thank you for this. So excited.